Well, welcome to the webinar, and thanks all for joining. Waiting for a couple of people to arrive, but while we are, I will do a quick introduction and I'll take my face away. I'm just going to go to the agenda. Today we have myself and Eddie. We're both based in Melbourne. I hope you fellas are doing all okay with the lockdown, and I know many of you are delivering essential services, so that's also very much recognised and appreciated. We'll try and get through this content in the next hour and a half. Eddie's going to cover off the 820 updates. We'll also talk about the new 820E and 850E range of millimeter wave E-band products. Eddie will take us through the new V-band product coming in the June-July timeframe. A little bit of slippage with production of that product due to the COVID-19 situation in China. We'll then talk about the PMP 450IM range and the cnRanger fixed LTE. I'll then take you through the updates on the ePMP product, the 3000 series. We're a year down the line of that. Eddie will update us on LinkPlanner. You'll notice that there's a new release just out, and there's a webinar on that new release coming up very shortly. We'll talk about a relatively new product that we have called cnHeat, which is around optimization and site qualification. Could be useful in some places where you've got live data available. A little bit of an update on cnMaestro, and then a vision into something that we've got coming down the line towards the end of the year. So, guys, you're familiar with Cambium. Many of you have been using our products, and we provide a broad range of solutions and technology in the what we call the wireless fabric, from edge access all the way to long distance communications and backhaul video surveillance and IoT applications. You see there the 5G icon. We'll start talking about that, small cell backhaul. But without spending too much time on that detail, we'll just focus on the fixed wireless components today. We will run some additional webinars on our enterprise Wi-Fi technology. But I hope you enjoy the presentation. It's you can drop questions into the chat box. I'll monitor that from time to time. And then we'll have Q&A after the presentation. There'll be time. So I'm going to hand over to Eddie, and I'm going to take my mug out of the way just for now. So enjoy the presentation.
Thanks, Roy. Fantastic. Good to see a great turnout as well. So there's lots to get through. Roy, I can't seem to see the presentation.
I did it again. I'll stop the sharing.
That's okay. Okay. I might just change screens, I think. Okay. Oh, good. Okay.
Right.
All right. So there's
1 second.
I can see. Okay. No worries. Good.
Right. Over to you, Eddie.
Thanks, mate. So at PMP 820, lots to get through with this slide pack. So starting off with PDP 820, our licensed microwave, 6 to 38 gigahertz, and also softly introducing the E-band solution in the 820 range as well. So what we have existing in the PDP 820, from 6 to 38 gigahertz band, so we're talking about the licensed band, is a combination of all outdoor and split. So the 820S through to the dual core 820C and the high power 820C. These are current radios. The split PDP 820G with the RFU-C is a current radio, as well as the new PDP 820F. Now the 820F is a baseband solution. We'll have a look at that one as well. So it's a relatively new solution, and we use that as a segue to talk about our new high capacity radios as well. I seem to have lost our presentation again, Roy. Thanks, mate. Okay, move forward. Next slide, please. So the 820C high power is available between 6 to 11 gigahertz. This product is available and shipping now. The high power variant is only available in the 820C, so the dual core, and it gives significant improvement in overall system gain through improvements in transmit power. So what we're seeing is longer lengths, smaller antennas, higher modulations. The main differences between the original base 820C and the 820C HP is, well, one, the system power increases, and we now have a field replaceable diplexer. And what the field replaceable diplexer gives you is now the ability to perform a better sparing strategy. We have a radio unit that is tuned to that is open to the entire band, and we now have a diplex as a passive unit which filters out the unwanted parts of the band, and this is the unit which could be spared. So the ports are very similar to the 820C, but we now have an additional port for data sharing as well as MIMO if need be. The 820F is a relatively new product. It's one of the newest products in that all outdoor space. And I say all outdoor because the 820F is in fact a baseband unit, and it accommodates the new RFUS, RFUD, and RFUD-HP. Now, the 820F, being a baseband unit, has a very complex and a very granular switch or switching capability in the IDU as well. Multi-gig ports, multi-interfaces, and multi-configuration support. And the most notable difference between the 820S's, 820Cs, and the 820F is that we can now support up to 4096 QAM in a single, in the RFU, and we also support more radio configurations on the east-west configuration. So one IDU would be able to support 3 radios or 2+0 configurations, and also 1+1. So it's a lot more nodal and comes with a lot more configuration options. The biggest thing with this also is because we have that 4096 QAM capability and those larger channel widths, we're now seeing 2.5 gigabit interfaces as well, all in a one new split mount unit. A more close-up view of the interfaces. So notable, we have the 2 STM1s, so we're still supporting STM1s, we're still supporting up to 16E1s also. We have four baseband interfaces, two of which are electrical and 2 of which are fiber. Also redundant 48-volt power supply. Now the 820F will support 3 new different types of RFUs, and that is the RFU-S, which is the equivalent of the PEP 820S in a single radio. The only difference is a smaller form factor and higher order modulation as well, so 4096 QAM. And the similar thing could also be said for the RFUD, which is a dual core all outdoor radio supported by the 820F, which introduces, once again, that higher power, the greater modulation and the greater configuration schemes as well. I should mention all of the new RFUD, the RFUD, the RFUS, and the RFUD-HP all support field replaceable diplexers, and here's the equivalent high power version of the RFUD, showing up to 35 dBm transmit power, 36 dBm transmit power, actually as low as in the lower 6 band. Now, it's a good segue to talk about our millimeter wave solutions. The world is changing. We're going to see a few things remain. We're going to see a few things, a few technologies, and a few requirements driving innovation. We're going to need. We're seeing a massive increase, or a massive demand for the increases in capacity. So E-band offers massive capacity. In this case, we have the PEP 820E similar, exactly the same form factor, as a matter of fact, as the A20Ss, the A20Cs. It's an all-outdoor, IP-rated E-band solution offering up to 2.5 gigabits. It's available as either a connectorized version to slip fit onto the back of an existing, onto the back of an antenna, and also as an integrated direct mount version as well. So an integrated version of that as well. Depending which product SKU is ordered or required, will determine the type of ports that are available to you. So there is an SFP port, an SFP plus port available to give you the 2.5 gigabits required to reach maximum capacity. And also a new feature called multiband. So a multiband is an extension on our MCABC feature, and multiband enables us to leverage on a failover and high availability during the events of fade, which cause a primary link to go down. So we'll talk about multiband a bit later on. Thanks, Roy. So key characteristics: E-band solution, 1+1 or 2+0, single pole configuration or dual pole configuration. XPIC will be a future feature available. We'll talk about that as the software evolves and we start seeing the 2+0 support for that. And being hardware ready for XPIC. So 43 dBi antenna optional, different hardware options to determine what ports are determine the port state. Power options, PoE, dual 48 volt. For an E-band radio, it's quite high power. So 18 dBm at those lower modulations is quite phenomenal. Very modulations, adaptive coding and modulations through a number of different modulation schemes. It's a very exhaustive. It has a very exhaustive MEF certified switching capability, providing all the complex switching that you would need to support a last mile or a backhaul solution. So LLDP, headed deduplication for more efficiency of packets, smart pipe selections for just getting the data through, CET mode for those MEF type services, automatic state propagation, which is a requirement for multi-band solutions, especially when working with third-party vendors for that second path, the dual path, and also we can see full support to carry sync E and the IEEE 1588b2 standard. The physical characteristic is not unlike all of our other IDUs. The form factor is similar to the 820S or the 820C. The port descriptions will depend on the version, an ESC or an ESP, so electrical, or SFP pluggable ports. And there is an external port available also, which will accommodate our XPIC. Now, just a comparative slide that shows the difference in the look of the integrated version. So the integrated version is a 43 dBi antenna coupled to the radio. So it's a very elegant, very small, discrete application, for street furniture, street poles, and exactly the same features as the connectorized 820E LB, that 43 dBi antenna. A really nice chart here, a really nice graph, just to show those 6 modulation states. Now, 6 modulation states is quite unique, showing the capacity ranges at those modulation rates. Now, we're talking about a maximum distance here. About the distance we're looking at here is 1.84, and what this is showing is the relative availability in this specific range zone K. Now, look, E-band has a lot of myths, and I can talk pretty openly about E-band and some of those myths. And it's a great band. Sure, it is affected by rain. Its propagation is not limited by anything else other than rain. It doesn't have a maximum limit, a maximum range of 2 or 3 kilometers. Its maximum range is completely dependent on your availability targets. And this is really important to understand as we talk about availability and as we talk about failover and when deploying an E-band link. If we look at a similar solution now, at a similar comparison using 2-foot dishes over a 3.24 kilometer distance, we can see that availability is relatively the same as we increase the overall gain. Now, whilst rain will impact an E-band link, this is where our conservative planning nature says to us that, you know, what happens in the event of fade? What happens, how do we maintain availability when capacity goes down? There we go. There's a multiband feature. So the multiband feature of the 820E is there to provide high capacity through the millimeter wave, aggregate that capacity with another radio. That other radio could be a Cambium 820C, could be a Cambium 820S, it could be a Cambium PTP 550. As a matter of fact, it could be a third-party radio. It doesn't really matter. And the aggregation is done at layer 1 at the radio frame layer and is completely hitless. And under normal circumstances, when the link is operating healthily, you will appreciate the capacity of both radios. In the event of an RF failure, it could be a device, it could be rain attenuation. You could have that rain event come through and severely attenuate your link above thresholds. At the multiband, the MCABC will then break off the E-band link and maintain availability on the secondary microwave link. And this is a really nice graph that shows high capacity for most of the time, but high priority service all the time. And this is what we want. You know, it's okay to lose that capacity every now and then when those rain bursts and cloud bursts do come in, as long as we maintain availability with some capacity along the way. So this is a great solution. It's a really good solution. I understand. So we are actually trialing this in the country right now. So in Australia, we have a live trial, a very successful trial with one of our ISPs here in Australia, and we've done a 10 kilometer link, E-band link, using a PTP 550 as a failover. It's working phenomenally. So the rain comes in, the E-band link will fall over as expected. We have full monitoring, performance monitoring, full OAM suite of the product, and we can see that, and we can see exactly when that rain comes in, and when the E-band link shuts off, the 550 takes over, and we have maximum availability. And the simplicity of this design could be no better. We have the ability to connect the secondary radio into a multiband port. So on the right part of this slide, you'll see a box that shows the 820E with a drop cable, 10 gig drop cable coming down to your switch, and then it does the aggregation of that second radio. And that second radio could be, well, in this case, it's showing as an 820C. And there's some really good advantages having an 820C and an 820S. The main thing being it's all Cambium. But some of the advantages are management, and the multiband antenna support is also available. If your backup link happens to be an 18 gig or a 23 gig link, we can have the one antenna share the two radios, 18 gig radio, 80 gig radio, or 23 gig radio and 80 gig radio, and the same antenna, minimizing your footprint. 850E. Now, the trial I was referring to a few minutes ago is based on our new 850E. This is our 10 gigabit solution in our E-band, in the E-band space. Up to 512 QAM modulation, 4 different channel width configurations. The number of configurations available with this hardware configurations are going to increase as the software evolves. Today we're supporting 1+0 and 2+, this 1+0 and 2+0. XPIC support will come. We'll see, so 2000 megahertz channel widths, giving us 10 gigabits per second. In terms of form factor, it's slightly bigger than the 820E, and we also have the integrated option available. In a so full multiband support, we have the integrated antenna also available. Excuse me. We have those narrower channel availabilities to give us high availability, so to give us high capacity even in those smaller channel widths. The multiband support is still supported on a single antenna, or if it's a lower band 11 gig solution, then you need a second antenna. But the multiband is a great feature. I really don't want to skim by it. It really is has shown massive improvements in availability. Now, the interface configuration on this is fixed. There's no optional. There's no different options of configuring your switches based on a SKU. They are fixed. So we have DC or PoE power management via the PoE port, and then we have a multiband interface. That P3 you'll see there is the multiband interface that will interface into the secondary path. And then we have our SFP or SFP plus characteristics, either via an SFP cage supporting SFP or a QSFP supporting a QSFP standard for up to 4x1 gig or 4x10 gig port. So we can have a single 40 gig interface, Ethernet traffic interface with the option for SFP or SFP plus with an adapter as well. So massive amount of configuration there as well. Adaptive coding and modulation. So this is by as a radio link is suffered by the impacts of rain and other atmospheric challenges. It will reduce its modulation, improve its transmit power, maintain availability whilst pushing through the high priority traffic. So this is a slide which really illustrates this very well, showing in sunny conditions there is no reason why you can't get a 20-25 millimeter wavelength. On a clear day, it will propagate massively well, awesomely well. When the rain kicks in, this is where adaptive modulation really helps. So on those longer hops in the 13, 15, 18 gigahertz band, we can have that high band to appreciate the high capacities, for example, and the smaller antenna sizes. But at the same time, during those hits, we can have that hitless and errorless change happening in the background, maintaining high priority traffic and some intelligent congestion management there as well with our integrated quality of service mechanisms. So that critical voice traffic will not be affected during that fading. So ACM feature, very good. Configurations, 1+1, 1+0. The multiband support is on the antenna in exactly the same way as the 820E. We also see the same configuration available on the 850E. So single antenna, 18 or 23 to carry that. We have we understand the other competitor in the market space is Siklu. We understand we have some notable differences between the two. Some of the main differences between these two, and this is pretty much how we see ourselves, how we compare to Siklu. So in terms of frequency support and band support, we get the same, but where the differences lies in the modulation, the maximum throughput given those higher order modulations, and the multiband support. Siklu does a bit differently, and our multiband support is also quite unique as well. And operational power overall is high, but the important things to look at here is overall system gain. So, you know, we have about over 1.5 dB of overall system gain when compared to other vendors. Okay, and this is comparing the 2.5 gigabit solution to the H25FX. When we're comparing the 850E to the 8010FX, what we'll see is very similar performances in capacity. But what we're also seeing is a greater number of modulation orders, and greater number of modulation orders mean greater intermediate steps during modulation or during adaptive modulation or change in modulation events. So we get to appreciate those greater capacities as the link is coming up and down as well. So our transmit power is also improved. We have better receive sensitivity overall, and you know, quite a complex Ethernet switching fabric within this guy as well. It does offer an overall differing solution. Okay, so we've spoken about microwave, 6 to 38 gigahertz. We've looked at our new 820E at the E band. We've looked at the 820 at the 850E 10 gigabit solution. As we start to see more capacity needs, unlicensed space, 60 gig solution, V band space is a hot topic for Cambium, and a heavily awaited solution that you know I'm really looking forward. Me and Roy, you know, we're sort of waiting for this to come, and it's a great story to tell when it gets here. And in the meantime, our cnWave solution is going to be based on the unlicensed band. It is going to be a point-to-point and point-to-multipoint solution with mesh. So it's going to be based on the Teragraph mesh solution standard. We'll see that being although the ATO 211A Y standard, you know, it's still in draft. We expect this to leave draft status by the end of the year, in which case we're fully ready for it when it comes out. And being completely software defined, we're going to be able to evolve and adapt features, change features, and software product enhancements quite rapidly. It's going to be a very easy, very efficient and faster deploying solution. We're looking at over 4,000 megahertz of channel widths, TDMA sync and TDMA frames, as opposed to carrier sense collision type frames, where we're going to see the Cambium richness of synchronization completely supported, to leverage and provide support in fixed wireless applications, provide small cell backhauls. We're going to see this as a great solution for distributing backhaul in smart city application and distributed industrial IoT environments. This is where we look at channel access methods as being the big one. So TDMA is where is our differing is the differing offer here. The network synchronization through what we've always done in synchronizing and providing highly scalable, highly efficient networks is in synchronizing that duty cycle, uplink, downlink, full mesh support, and we have support for up to 15 subscribers per sector. Should also note that it will support the full channel support from 1 through to 4. I think in New Zealand their RSM, so being RSM has 57 to 64 ratified, and when we compare the AD solution with the AY solution, this is some of the major differences. In we're looking at increased channel support when we compare it to AY, which is what we're going to be based on, and also maximum throughput as well. So it's by no means the older AY chipset. It is the new way chipset, which we're looking at enhancing here. Now, the portfolio. Three solutions. So we've got the distribution node, we've got the client nodes. The client nodes will operate as either client nodes, as subscriber modules, or as point-to-point modules. So the distribution node has the antenna gain characteristics, and they're quite good looking. The industrial design on these guys is quite good. It's quite good. So they will all support beamforming antennas. So this will make alignment very simple. It would mean that installing them on vertical surfaces at 90-degree angles, so vertical surfaces is going to be very, very easy, stream along with existing poles and so on. Also, the adjustment on the azimuth as far as beamforming goes is going to be quite simple. Our B1000 and B3000 solutions for subscriber modules also support the beamforming. There's limited beamforming in the B3000, of course. This is a higher gain. The B3000 will show a higher gain antenna to provide a greater distance. Now, V-band is highly attenuated by oxygen. So we're no longer talking about just rain. We're talking about the oxygen absorption factor, which is highly impacting on range. And this is where there's some benefits and some disadvantages, of course, with that. You know, the benefits are we can have a high reuse of this and greater densities. And well, I suppose the limitations are the distance, where we do need that greater distance. It's also a completely unlicensed solution. So this shows the mesh and the point-to-multipoint configuration of the solution as well. So where we can have 15 customer nodes, and we can have up to 2 distribution nodes per sector, and up to, in this case, 15 client and distribution nodes per sector, but up to 2 distribution nodes per sector. So this is, it's going to be a highly flexible, highly configurable, dynamic mesh forming solution. It's going to.
So Eddie, if I can just add to that, guys, that picture you see at the bottom with the 2 colors actually depicts 2 radios in the single distribution node, which is unique to the architecture. It's also a bit non-disclosure. So single radio, each radio will cover 140 degrees. So you get 280-degree coverage out of a single distribution node, which is a unique design architecture. And then each radio supports up to 15 clients, or a combination of clients and meshing. You'll be able to mesh up to 2 hops from a distribution node, and be able to, in a system, have up to 15 hops of teragraph meshing taking place. So 280-degree coverage out of a single distribution node is pretty unique, and hence 30 client node density coming out of there as well.
Yep.
And then just going on to the side, you can see this is a real life design that our guys are doing in the US in terms of trying to achieve the design and the coverage. And you can see how the dual sector or the dual radio modes within the distribution node allow us to get maximum coverage from a single pole, and then the small client nodes that are being connected to those. So some good opportunities. The key here is why 2 radios, why the 280-degree coverage. And one of the things I've found out recently in Australia with some people planning for these projects is the power companies are going to make money, and they're going to charge you for the number of devices connected to a pole. And so if you can minimize the amount of furniture on a pole, hence 2 radios in a single distribution node, that's going to add a lot of value rather than having multiple distribution nodes mounted on a pole. So some good thought behind that. And then a full ecosystem of our technology. cnRanger is an installation tool. that we have cnRanger, our management, cloud management platform, and cnHeat, Eddie's going to talk about a little bit later, which is our site qualification tool, making it a pretty unique set of architecture. So handing back to Eddie to talk about 450 and our LTE.
Thanks, mate. I received an email today, an editorial on, and if I just look at this now, it's from Comms Day, so Communications Day. It's a publication that happens in reference to what's happening in telecoms in ANZ. And there was some quite good information in this, and something that's relevant right now. So before I dive into what's happening overseas in Italy, and this is, what we're seeing is we've got data from Optus saying the week ending Sunday, 29th of March, they've seen a 20% increase in uploads. So a 20% increase in uploads. We're seeing changes in mobile usage. All obvious things now, isn't it? I mean, people are, this is no longer evening dominated. The traffic patterns are changing. People are uploading over their home internet, all fixed connections more. The upload, so the uplink volumes are shifting by 33%, and our downloads are also increasing by a lesser rate, so 13%. Conferencing traffic is a big one. They've got here 214%, and messaging was up 86%, as well as file storage. So we're seeing some high priority traffic, but also some streaming traffic, which is becoming quite heavy, taxing on the uplink as well. We're also seeing Optus say voice calls have grown. We're seeing the voice over Wi-Fi increasing by more than 85%. And something local to you guys as well. During the COVID-19 lockdown, Vodafone New Zealand has right now, since the 29th, has seen traffic grow 20%. We expect to see this grow more and more as more and more New Zealanders work from home. So just some localized news which I picked up today, which was shared with me. So I just thought I'd share it with you guys. Just as we start off and kick this off with respect to the PMP 450, this is a real world example. I'd like to start off with a real world example, specifically in this case, and now more than ever focused on Italy, which we have a regional operator in Italy called Eolo, and they are single-handedly our largest PMP 450 customer exclusively in the world. They have over 500,000 subscribers in their PMP 450 network countrywide. Now, they first appeared in this ISP Speedflex, so Netflix report, this index report, 3 years ago, and they came in at number 6. And what's notable about this number 6 position is that they are the highest of the wireless providers. All the other providers ahead of them, being the tier ones, are the mobile, Telecom Italia, Fastweb, Tiscali, and also being the leader there, Vodafone. And they first appeared as a premier wireless company. And if we now go forward 3 years, as a matter of fact, sort of 2 years really. But this data now, this new revised Netflix report published this year shows Eolo as having the highest ranking with the highest speed index. And this is for the entirety of Italy. And as a matter of fact, they've held this position for the majority of 2019, or sorry, for since the second half of 2019. What we're seeing here is they leading this space in fixed wireless broadband. Now, this has led, as per recently, habits have changed. We're seeing traffic patterns change. They have noticed a 60% increase in traffic. People are now working from home. Traffic patterns have changed. The home office is now the office, and that office is manned for a greater number of times during the day. We now no longer see evening dominated events. And more importantly, their network is holding up, you know, even in these crazy times. You know, we're seeing the uplink is taking a significant portion of the traffic. It's being massively and significantly taxed. But the good news for us is Cambium systems handle such things. We have, you know, when you think about LTE and when you think about the mobile operators and what they do and what they do well and what those mobile standards have always favored, is the uplink. Oh, sorry, is the downlink. So they've always, almost invariably, had been better performers and greater speeds in that downlink. But our solutions put us in quite some strength, and our TDD frame is very flexible. It enables us to easily change that duty cycle. It enables us to increase the bandwidth and the efficiency, the spectral efficiency, to get improvements in the uplink. And this is a great story for us. It's a great story for Airolo as well. And for those other PMP 450 use operators in the world, as it shows their resilience during these crazy times. The key message that we got from this is that not only is it the highest capacity index, but one, the network is holding up, 500,000 users, and under these times of increased quarantine. It's unbelievable. Now, the 450 platform is our flagship platform. It's a continuously evolving platform. It is a software-defined and has an impressive feature set, all governed and all done on an FPGA. It gives us the PMP 450M, for instance, is showing us as the highest spectral efficiency we have ever seen in the industry, and we'll see for a long time. GPS synchronization is a strength of ours. This gives us the ability to reuse frequency and further improve that spectral efficiency, especially in the uplink. There is a great solution paper focused on the Medusa, on the PMP 450M. It really showcases the technology which brought the 450 to the front. It shows how the Medusa is remaining as an unmatched solution. And I encourage you all, when we share this slide pack, to go onto the Cambium Networks resource site and download this. It's a good read. We all have plenty of time to do lots of reading now, so I really encourage you guys to do that. Not sure how relevant. So if those of us who do have access to 3 GHz spectrum over there in New Zealand, the 450B was released and announced and shipping in a 450B variant in 3 GHz. Now the 450B maintains the performance of the 450 platform, the PPS, the wideband support, the gigabit Ethernet interface, with the new FPGA and system on a chip architecture, but puts it in a price point that makes it favourable for those operators and ISPs especially. So we're maintaining that 30 volt power scheme, and as we look to a new solution, a solution which will remain low cost, and a solution which will act as a hole filler for where you want to use the PMP 450M, but you don't quite have the budget won't allow, or it's quite it's not feasible, where you only need to reach a little pocket of up to 20 subscribers. Well, first half of this year we'll start to see the new micro pop shipping. It's quite a good looking solution. These pictures don't really, I don't think they show how good it really looks, but its industrial design is quite good. It's pretty cool actually. So there are some limitations with this guy. The limitations are going to be that it will be limited to 20 subscribers and have a TDD frame range, a limitation of 2 miles, so about 3-point-something kilometers. The roadmap is and shows our commitment to developing and evolving the 450 range. This is, go crazy with screenshots, but we're sending this out. The biggest ones that stand out for me are the intermediate modulation schemes. The intermediate modulation schemes will add increased capacity in between the gaps. So we're going to see 128 QAM modulation. We're going to see an increase of PPS. We're going to see our PPS increase up to 100,000. This is a big jump as well. So the increase in PPS is another one. We're going to see if we look at out-of-band management support, we're going to see another big one for me is this in 2020 20.3 version, we're going to see some nomadic operations as well. So the ability for some slow movement within the sector and to support rearranging as well of the TDD frame. And also the split sector mode. So the split sector mode is still in development. We haven't quite asserted the full feature set or functionality, but it will be applicable to the Medusa, the 450M, to work in a split sector mode, meaning dual channels in a single sector. Now, our cnRanger, our LTE, we have trials in country in New Zealand as we speak, about to begin, and we have trial in the Pacific in Vanuatu about to go underway as well. So field trials have began with our cnRanger solution. This is a very compact LTE solution. I was in Christchurch last year delivering training on the product. We see characterizing the product. It's made up of the baseband unit, a remote radio head, and an antenna. So 3 components which make up the full E node B, the full RAN, so to speak. And we have the baseband unit combined with the RRH to mean that is all you need. There is no third-party external equipment required to support this. No centralized RAN or distributed RAN, so to speak, and the EPC is fully maintained within the baseband unit. It's going to be today. It's released. The software supporting it today is based on the LTE standard, so layer 3. Within a few months, we will, 2 months, I hope, we'll see full support for the Cambium layer 2 feature richness. So we'll see that ease of functionality. Some of the feedback we're getting from trials at the moment is the simplicity of use. We're seeing it's very simple to configure, and we're going to see that simplicity increase as we introduce our layer 2 mechanism into this. And also we're seeing support for third-party subscriber units or user equipment. So relevant to you guys in your world for the MSPs are so 2580 to 2620, so 40 megahertz of space there is the LTE band 38. So this is available now. So those of you that have access to that 40 megahertz, this is where it would suit. The second release of the solution will be offered in the 3 gig band from 3.4 up to 3.8 to serve bands 42, 43, and 48 as well. So once again, screenshots if you like, but we're sending this out, so we'll start to see the 3 gigahertz solution in September at the end of the year. The important one for me is Ethernet bridging. So this is, I'm heavily awaiting this for some of these to facilitate and accelerate some of these trials, and that's the layer 2 support, the cnMaestro support today is in beta. We're going to have the SFP support as well coming in. That's going to be via software key. We'll also be able to support an evolved packet called a third-party EPC. So if you have a cloud provider or a third-party provider for an EPC, then that will be supported in Q4. We'll also increase the SM count as well to up to 128 per sector. So some good things happening there. For simplicity of installation, we're going to see cnRanger support the LTE of the cnRanger. So cnRanger support, so cnRanger, meaning you can install your devices via a smartphone.
Thanks, Eddie. Time to take a little break. I'm going to take you guys through ePMP and specifically the ePMP 3000 platform. This has been in the market a little over a year now, and it's based on the 11AC Wave 2 chipset, which we see as offering 5 times the performance of the early technologies. We wonder, why is that so? Firstly, it supports 4x4 MU-MIMO, which is a component of the Wave 2 variant of the 11AC standard, obviously wider channel support up to 80 megahertz, and the higher order modulation moving from the 11N technology of 64 QAM to 256 QAM. One of the features that led the ePMP technology in the marketplace was its scalability and ability to deal with interference. The scalability is driven by the architecture that we have inside of the product and its sharing algorithms. But we also added uplink beam steering and dynamic filtering, which helped with interference mitigation in the 2000 that carried through to the 3000. And then, as Eddie mentioned a little bit earlier when he spoke about the cnWave 60 product, the importance of synchronization. This has always been at the heart of the Cambium point of multi-point solutions, and synchronization obviously carries forward into the ePMP 3000 range. We also ensured that we protected the investment of the installed 11N base. We provided the opportunity for customers to migrate from older other technologies. So customers that have been running 11N based Ubiquity networks, for example, could migrate to the Cambium solution without having to rip and replace subscriber modules by simply changing the access point, upgrading the software on the subscriber modules to Cambium software supported through the Elevate program. And then we can see in the world of 11N of how we're still able to show improved performance. And there are some functionality in the solution set that enables that. We changed the encoding scheme for error correction to LDPC, linear diversity parity coding, which adds some functionality in the checksum to allow us to actually do error correction and signal enhancement. This adds about 3 dB improved receive performance. And then the other feature called MRC, maximum ratio combining, is a feature supported by the fact that we got more ears in the access point. So it's got more receive radios, 4x4, and being able to disseminate and encode between all those different received radios, called maximum ratio combining, again improves the link performance by about 3 dB. We're very focused around support of total cost of ownership across the portfolio. In February last year, we introduced 3-year hardware warranty across the ePMP products, and we continue to provide support both to the channel and our WISP customers. So why does this MU-MIMO really help in the real world, being able to support 4x4? And it's all about, if you compare it to other technologies operating, if you want to do 500 megabits per second, we're able to support that with only 64 QAM and 21 dBi signal to noise ratio, and then being able to support 1 gigabit per second Not possible on the earlier generation Wave 1 technologies, but on some of the newer technologies with high order modulation, but very high signal to noise ratio. Whereas in the because of the functionality that we have in the ePMP 3000 with the LDPC, with the MLC, and the synchronization technologies, we can operate at 64 QAM with only a 627 dBi signal to noise ratio. And really what this translates to is it's all about long distances, more throughput, smaller antenna sizes, and the Wave 2 technology is really coming to its own. I remember when Eddie did the workshop back in Go Wireless in March last year, we were a little bit early to market and we didn't have some of the functionality, the backward and the forward compatibility done. We do have that now, and the product's come into its own. We'll probably see version 4.5 be released probably later this week or early next week, and that will continue to add performance enhancements to the product range. We also see a solid evolution of our technology as we've gone over the last 5 or so years, from the early ePMP 1000 product, then the 2000, where we increased performance but added interference mitigation with beam filtering and the beam steering antenna. You see that little antenna sitting below the sector antenna. We continue to support that in the ePMP 3000 solution set with the up and coming software, but significantly increased performance as we went from 200 meg plus to over a gig of capacity in the access point. And in the future, we'll see that evolve with AX technology to our ePMP 4000 range. And the key here is that there is a solid roadmap and backward and forward compatibility, and as we move to that technology. We see here the range and options of access points in the portfolio. The ePMP 3000, which is the 4x4 MU-MIMO solution, will support up to 120 subscriber modules, support dynamic filtering, with the option of the uplink beam steering support. That's the same ePMP 2000 antenna, which will be supported in version 4.5 software imminently coming out. A really successful product that we brought to market some time ago was the ePMP 3000L, so the baby brother of the 3000. It's only 2x2. It's a micro pop type solution, but combines itself really well with the RF elements horn antennas. The workhorse of our portfolio, the ePMP 2000, continues to be their 11N based technology. There's a light version of that, will support up to 10 subscribers, and then the traditional ePMP 1000. We also, a little bit earlier this year, introduced a micro pop, fully integrated 360-degree antenna, which is ideal for small deployments. We found really good utility if you're in for example, a multi-dwelling unit with a central office and 5 or 6 or 7 dwellings or buildings around that. It creates a great solution for providing connectivity and then Wi-Fi deployments inside of those as well. So options on the ePMP 3000L, which is connectorized 2x2 into a traditional sector antenna, a traditional Omni 2x2 antenna, or the RF elements horn antenna, which I'll talk a little bit more about as we move on. The ePMP 3000 will use the traditional or the new 4x4 MIMO sector antenna. The great feature of being able to do 4x4 is that we can have 2 simultaneous subscribers talking back to that access point at 2x2. So whether they're 11N based or the new Wave 2 AC based solution, you can still have multiple 2 subscribers simultaneously communicating back to the access point, which is one of the areas for added capacity and performance. KP Performance Antennas out of Canada has been a long time partner of ours, and they have released a Omni antenna 4x4. And then we've got an interesting RF Elements created product with dual horns to support 4x4 using horn technology for the ePMP 3000. So this dual horn antenna is pretty unique. The idea here is taking the RF elements horn antenna technology, which is well recognized in the WISP community in New Zealand, Australia, around the world, obviously distributed and sold by Go Wireless. And the way this antenna isolates the nodes, the side nodes and the adjacent nodes, and provides better noise isolation is proven. But now we extend that technology into the 4x4 capability, and we just make that available pretty soon. Products are being produced, and we'll start shipping them in the May timeframe. Ideal for narrow beams, micro pops, video surveillance type applications with dual 60-degree antennas with 12 dBi gain in those. The KP Performance product is, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, is an Omni 4x4, provides 3 dB gain and provides an interesting option as well for deployment. Here is a good example of how the ePMP 3000L has been used by a wireless service provider that happened to be based relatively near our office in the Chicago, Illinois area. We're in Rolling Meadows. This wireless service provider, you can see on a pole, has got 3 horn antennas covering lower left picture, 3 sectors, adjacent sectors. And the idea here is that they're offering 100 meg plus services to their customers. So very low dense sectors with directed beams and the ability to provide high performance 100 meg by 150 type solutions to their customers, and that works really well. With the ePMP 3000 range, we also extended our subscriber technology with the ePMP Force 300 range of products. The 300 range being ACMB 2 based. You've got the Force 325, which has got a 25 dB gain, gigabit interface, built-in real-time spectrum analyzer. The Force 316, which is similar to the 180. And then there's a new added product, the connectorized subscriber module, the Force 300 CSM. Again, can be used effectively with the RF elements horn antenna for those subscribers that are a little bit further away. And then some additional subscribers added, the 19 and 19R. These are panel-based antenna with the 19R option being IP67. And then a cute little small form factor, cost-effective solution in the Force 313. And then there's also a lower cost version of that, the Force 313L, available outside of the US, and which is probably why it didn't find its way into this presentation. So you can see with the ePMP 3000 family of access points, there are a number of ways to build different size base stations, pop sites, all the way from high capacity 4x4 MU-MIMO sectors, providing good range and coverage for up to 480 subs. And then you can see in the chart how that builds down, whether you use the 3000L single sector of that using the horn antennas in some cases, or the micropop. So what are you trying to achieve? What is the subscriber density? What is the noise floor? Do I need synchronization? And how much area do I need to cover? So some good design options and capabilities in that. From a roadmap perspective, a key milestone for us will be the delivery of 4.5. It's taken a little bit of time. A number of folk are waiting for it. But it's we've delayed it to ensure that it brings the appropriate level of improvement and stability. There's actually a webinar later this week which will be recorded, made available. We'll send out the link of these features that are going to be supported inside of this latest release coming out. For those folk that are not yet using ePMP, we've got a great little starter bundle that's available. So have a chat to the guys at Go Wireless. The opportunity is to get some gear into your hands at a discounted price to start off with, and also give you some free subscriber modules along with that. And then for those of you that have jumped in already using the technology, the opportunity here is to refer one of your colleagues and friends to Cambium. Bring a WISP friend to us and we'll give you some free equipment along with that. So we're really keen to see some more folk jump on board and obviously have a chat to the folk that are already using it and having success with the platform in terms of performance and scalability around that. So I'm going to hand back to Eddie, who'll talk to us about the design and planning tools, LinkPlanner and cnHeat. Eddie, come back to us.
I'm here, mate. I'm here. Okay, good. Thanks for that. All right, so I'll just sorry, I was just looking at the chat for any questions. So it looks I don't have any questions. So it looks as though we've answered everything. LinkPlanner and planning. So LinkPlanner is a bit of network planning software, which is I would say a mandatory bit of software that anyone using Cambium should be having installed and using on a day-to-day basis with their network optimization, for understanding performance, RF performance, for understanding capacity, building, generating reports, bills of material. It's a phenomenal application, and being free makes it attractive, and certainly should not make it any less advanced. It really is an evolving tool that has been put together by some of the biggest brains in the industry. It's the gel, I call it the gel of all of our point-to-multipoint and point-to-point solutions, is that it really puts everything together and shows you from a GUI representation how the link performs, the path profiles used. Now, the path profile data is automatically imported using freely available SRTM data. It gives you the ability to edit some of that data, some of that height data. We can generate bills of material, custom antenna sizes, antenna heights. We can look at availabilities. We can set targets. We can set target minimum availability and target minimum throughput requirements. And it gives us a really good chance to look at the detail behind the performance per modulation level. We can visualize our links by overlaying over Google Maps, so we can export and integrate well using KMZ, KML files within Google Earth. I tend to like to use Google Earth hand in hand when I'm using LinkPlanner. They integrate both very well together. It's an important tool to enable us to model and to enable us to do a what-if analysis. Does the link meet our criteria? Can our solution be achieved? If so, what is required? And it also performs another function of when the link is working and is running, or the point-to-multipoint links, or whatever it might be, and you have a problem, you have somewhere to look back and say, well, I know what the problem is now. I can see my receive power is at this level. I can see my current modulation is at this level. My link loss is this. And when I look at the actual results, or when I look at the calculated results, I can see differences. So those variances, those deltas can be examined, and you can make commentary and take action either way. So it gives us the ability to perform these scenario plannings. It gives us the ability to look back and say, well, what have we done differently? What's happened differently? Has there been an obstruction? So LinkPlanner performs and supports all of our products, all of our outdoor fixed wireless broadband point-to-point products. It will generate reports for each of these point-to-point or point-to-multipoint links. We can generate and meet the expectations of those commercial interests. So we can generate bills of material, proposal reports to present to stakeholders. We can also generate installation reports and pass these on to our field technicians and our NOC center, for example, when it's time to configure these radios. So the configuration or the installation reports will have a full configuration list and an itemized configuration list of what needs to happen to make the link configured as per LinkPlanner. Now, whilst LinkPlanner does a pretty good job at generating path profiles, it really doesn't take away the need, or really doesn't denote the need to for site qualification. Recently, we announced a product called cnHeat, which enables an operator to remove some of the challenges with their business. So you would know this more than anyone, that some of the challenges you face in business, some of the operational challenges you might face is well, how can I quickly qualify this customer? How do I know that this building that they're on, this house, is going to have access or is going to have line of sight to either of my towers? I've got difficult terrain to work with, hills, trees, valleys, mountains, all sorts of other things, buildings. Well, cnHeat meets those operational challenges by removing them. It takes away the inaccuracy of some of the freely available data and provides to us, where available, the integrated use of LiDAR data to give us accuracy within less than a meter. So this accuracy enables us to get a very accurate understanding of where our customers are, whether that customer qualifies for a service, at what height above their building do I need to install an antenna, where on their building I can install an antenna. It helps to identify those normally ignored tower sites, for example. It enables you to build out more towers to those sites which you would never have thought existed as a good site. Some of the feedback we've been getting from some of the users around the world and even in our own backyards in Australia is we're seeing a massive improvement in service qualification from the beginning. They are able to approve and deny quickly those new customers with 100% accuracy. There is an example you can look at. So if you go to cnHeat.cambiumnetworks.com, smHeight username, demo, password, you'll be able to look at the same example I'm looking now. And this will enable you to get into and have a look at some of the accuracy and details cnHeat provides you. So we can perform different sorts of views. We're able to create a view based on a minimum SM height. We can create a view that shows just those buildings that meet a particular RSSI, for instance. We can set different color gradients to identify those differences as well. So all those ones that are in purple, for example, are at 1 foot, and all those ones that are in blue are at 80 feet. So that's above the actual clutter. So you can see with this function, with this part of the application, cnHeat locate, what it gives us is pinpoint accuracy on this building right in the middle. We can send our installer to this building and say install the antenna, or install the radio at this spot on the building at this height above the building. So you know costs expected, the equipment to take out, where to put it, with a massively fast turnaround time. And this customer satisfaction will skyrocket. So you can see with a particular, if you were to click any spot using the cnHeat locate feature, so clicking on the map, on any spot on the map, will show you the it will show you the signal strength to each of your towers on your map. and it will rank them in order of signal strength or criteria. So in this case, we've clicked a place mark, and from that place mark, we can see 3 towers, the nearest being 1.6 kilometers, with a 3.7 meter mount to give us minus 52 dBm. The next tower, Tower B from this spot, is 3 kilometers away, and it will give us a 7 dB down, so minus 59 at 4.9 meters. This information is fantastic. It's fantastic. So go on to cnHeat.cambiumnetworks.com, use those login credentials, and have a look for yourself. Now, LiDAR data needs to be available. I understand that there are parts of New Zealand that are sufficiently covered with that accurate LiDAR data. If that data isn't available and you can get it for us and we can use it, we can incorporate it. If you can get it, sometimes that data needs to be paid for, that's fine. So there's ways we can get around that. So where you have, so there's different parts, there's different things around cnHeat, where we're looking at greenfield sites. This gives us a chance to optimize to find the optimum site for a tower. So based on where your customers are. So it will look at where your customers are. It will look at the best tower location, or enable you to find the best tower location to service the most number of customers. So lots of heat maps, lots of outputs, some really good resolution, and the reason it works is because of that accurate 1 meter resolution LiDAR data. So your GIS, your government sites will have access or enable the public access to this data. I can't recall the site in New Zealand, but there is a GIS, a geoscience equivalent of Australia there in New Zealand that has access to this. Now, a Red Fox is a company based in Mackay, in northern part of Queensland, and some of their operational challenges was customer satisfaction, was poor initial customer satisfaction with turnaround times on qualifying those customers. And what they found is they're now able to target particular marketing of their services to those customers located in cnHeat. The customer Skynet, there's a customer Skynet based in Northern America who showed some great savings, installation savings. One, by avoiding failed truck rollouts and also improving the number of successful truck rollouts and qualified sites initially. So some of these guys before cnHeat doubled their installations per sites. The pricing isn't all bad. You know, the pricing is based on an annual licensing structure and access to a subscription fee. Now, cnHeat, locate, identify, and optimize are available as different different elements within the base package, but they're all available. The base package of cnHeat locate is available as either a 3-year, 1 year, or a 1 month paid upfront fee. We've got now identify is only available for US, so that's using a particular database which is not available outside of the US to locate the particular premises using an FCC registered site ID. So you know, let's stick to the optimize as one that enables us to actually find those optimal sector sites and identify the subscribers, or to maximize the subscribers within that sector site. But cnHeat locate at the top of this the top table here is a phenomenal solution. Go and have a look. Boy.
So let's take a quick look at the Wi-Fi router solutions in our portfolio of CN Pilot products. We actually sell quite a lot of these in New Zealand, so thank you for that. A lot of the R190 and 190Vs, V with ATA ports. kind of a note of the items in grey are 11N based technology, and we probably don't see sort of massive longevity for that as we move towards AX. So AC and AX technologies will start to predominate, will start to dominate. But we do have our AC-based solution set, that 195W, which is starting to sell quite well in New Zealand. There was a great blog on the product Michael Murphy did in the Gig Zone forum, so thanks for that. Gigabit capable performance out of the product with pretty good Wi-Fi coverage, and obviously for us the same cnMaestro cloud management that supports the rest of the portfolio. There are 201 and 201P, P for the product that supports powering up the subscriber module, but also has ATA ports for voice over IP. And then coming out in the May-June timeframe now is R195P, which you see it's got a cool antenna arrangement with fully integrated antennas. Will be our flagship high-performance AC-based product with ATA support as well. And we'll see the 195 and the family of products then dominating, moving into the second half of 2020. So the two products are shown again in terms of functionality. The 195W is a really cost-effective solution, US dollar list price shown there, highlighting cnMaestro support on that. And then I'll highlight the support for both products in yellow. There's a new product we're supporting called Router Limits. It's parental control, and there was a really good webinar which is now available on the Cambium Networks Limited YouTube channel that talks about the functionality of Router Limits. That's a cloud-based service that you guys would subscribe directly to offer your customers that capability, and it really looks like a very well-featured and functional solution that the router products, the 201 product and the 190 product also support router limits. So I'll hand back to Eddie, give us a quick update on cnMaestro as well.
Thanks, mate. I was just answering, I just saw a couple of questions. There was one question on, sorry, I'll take others and answer one question quickly. Does cnHeat only create coverage patterns for Cambium? Can we use third-party radio equipment? So the answer is cnHeat provides coverage-based propagation function or frequency versus distance. So this means it's vendor agnostic. So today, this is only for line-of-sight deployments, but certainly in the future, in the not too distant future, we'll be looking at using ITU-R propagation models for near and non-line of sight in the 5 gigahertz and also the 3 gigahertz band. Okay, cnMaestro. So this is our single pane of glass network management system to enable full management, monitoring, and control of the entirety of Cambium's portfolio, with some exceptions where it doesn't support the 820. It completely supports the PTP 670, 450, PMP 450s, ePMP, and absolutely the CN pilot. So it makes for a great guest services experience, creation of guest services, radius integration, as proxying, SNMP, excuse me, it creates email notifications, firmware management, configuration profiles, templates. We can push scripts to completely manage and CLI scripts to manage our CN matrix switches. So even our switches are completely managed via cnMaestro. Its dashboard is not unlike any other dashboard you would have seen before. It's completely fluent, or I should say fluid. The workspace, the graphing reporting has a great layout, a really good flow. It's really nice to look at, really manageable, and it's absolutely intuitive and makes for a really good view. It enables you to go into client to end user details. It looks at client connectivity, application quality, for instance. It enables end-to-end monitoring, so we can do link tests from core to customer. It enables us to perform a pre-configuration and pre-adopting of devices and facilitate a zero-touch feel, so to speak, for those managed service providers where we are looking after a number of different Wi-Fi sites. There is an MSP-ready functionality that enables branding or branded managed service provider sites or MSP customers. It enables you to have multi-tenants. It enables you to give each of those tenants their own branding. So where we have, in this case, we have a dashboard, a completely unified dashboard for the managed service provider. We see over here we have a customer, Cal Custom in this case, with their own branded portal. We've got Swagger support, so we're able to integrate with Swagger support to generate and build our northbound interfaces for API integration and full support for this documentation as well to generate information on those device groups and documentation and so on.
So just a quick little overview of a really powerful tool there called cnMaestro. So this is the last section, guys. I see we are on the hour and a half just now. This will just be about 5-10 minutes, and then we'll be done. So I appreciate again you taking the time to share with us. So Cambium has made the commitment for the development of a whole range of gigabit wireless technologies. We'll see that merging of the LAN-WAN environment taking place. Wi-Fi 6 is just around the corner. You've already had the overview of the E-band products from a backhaul perspective and the cnWave product that we'll see in the June-July timeframe. This product that we have coming is our cnWave 28 product, which will be coming towards the end of the year as a key part of our portfolio that is 5G based. That is 5G NR technology. We've obviously, as Cambium, gained significant experience around the 3GPP set of protocols with the development of our fixed LTE product. 5G is going to bring a significant, I'm laughing because I've been reading the posts on some of the WISP forums about how 5G's some kind of an evil force that's going to melt the world and brought the coronavirus. So they're burning down towers in the UK because of that. That's a load of nonsense. So 5G is a high performance next version of mobile technology, IMT 2020, for enhanced mobility, ultra reliable, low latency communications, and then massive machine type communications with the 3 key focuses around the technology. There's a new air interface that was designed to be able to provide this higher performance. We saw the introduction of beam steering with multi-antenna transmission technology. You will recognize that Cambium stepped up and did that already in our PMP 450M product 3 years ago with our ability to have a 14x14 antenna array in that. But also the flexible dynamic TDD stream and the lower latency technologies within the technology. And we'll take this solution set and we'll add it to our portfolio in the context of a fixed solution. The standards being ratified and completed pretty soon. The idea is for us, it's a fixed solution using the standard 5G NR air interface. We'll maximize the use of the available chipsets for third-party, for our CPE, and also the connectivity of third-party CPE into our portfolio. Why 28 gig? Well, it's the band that's being made available both for millimeter wave solutions in mobile technology. In Australia, we have some of the band, the upper band 27 to 28, being allocated for fixed wireless and mobile services. I think it behoves your community to continue to talk robustly to the MBIEE and encourage them to make fixed services available in that band. It will be licensed. It's going to provide high propagation, high throughput in that. And we're talking about decent cell sizes, but utilizing the Medusa type MU-MIMO technology and beam steering capabilities to optimize the signal for us. For us, the AP will be able to operate in standalone mode. It'll incorporate the EPC functionality. You won't need a separate mobile operator EPC core. The product wideband, it'll support 24 to 29 in a single SKU. It's optimized to provide pretty decent cell sizes, typically around about 3 to 5 Ks, but with the ability to go further depending on the availability and target availability requirements, the range region that you're operating in. It's optimized for line of sight. There's millimeter wave technology. The CPE will have a high gain dish antenna and some beam steering capabilities across that, with the beam AP providing a level of azimuth only beam steering. The design of the CPs will be operating in high throughput conditions for us. So 28 gigs, pretty exciting. It's coming. It's going to be our first 5G NR platform from Cambium. It'll complement the other millimeter wave solutions that we will have, and we'll see this coexistence of the world of Wi-Fi 6, which is pretty exciting. The cnWave 60 products together with the 28 gig products, and the emerging world and of Wi-Fi. The importance of fixed wireless is proven. I'm glad so many of you could join us today. I know you're busy doing what you're doing. I wish you all the best in these pretty tough times with your families. We focused at Cambium to try to help where we can, so reach out to Go Wireless, reach out to us. We committed as a company to make sure that we will continue to operate as effectively as possible during these tough times. We focused on supply chain, and we'll continue to be focused on the development of these new solutions.